Hello, you are listening to the GearyCast on Sports Direct Radio and as part of the Sport Social Podcast Network. I'm Nick Bell here for this preview show as Malaga are looking forward to their final proper game of the season with a short little jaunt up to the capital city to the Alfredo Di Stefano. Yeah, that's the way. For their last game. So before we get into all that, we're going to bring you some latest news. But joining us here for this podcast is the one and only Chris Marquez. Hello, Chris Marquez.
Hello. I guess you're saying Di Stefano.
Di Stefano? Di Stefano?
Yeah,
Di Stefano?
on the E, so it's Di Stefano.
English-speaking crap at Spanish, Nick Bell. They shouldn't name that stadium that way anyway. And then joining us live from Madrid. It's quite rare that we get this, but we actually have somebody from Real Madrid TV joining us today for this preview of Malaga versus Real Madrid Castilla. It is the one and only Real Madrid TV's Alex Ashmore. Alex Ashmore, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I like that introduction. Live from Madrid, as opposed to the other podcast where I'm live from Madrid.
You do record it from the studio of Real Madrid TV.
I could have done it if I was at work. I wasn't working there today.
Shush, Chris. People who aren't watching on YouTube don't have to know that he's not in the studio at Real Madrid. He could actually be at the Bernabeu right now.
Yeah, hiding in the toilets.
Are you saying the Bernabeu?
Say again, sorry?
Nick said the Bernabeu. That sounds better as a stadium.
The English pronunciation is the Bernabeu, obviously Bernabeu. But like, if you ask any English person, that's the Bernabeu.
What do you say Real Madrid TV, Alex?
I would say probably because I've learned Spanish and like did Spanish as a degree, I'd probably say the Bernabeu.
But what do your colleagues say on Real Madrid TV?
Probably the Bernabeu as well.
You cannot get away with it being on Real Madrid TV and saying
I think you have to do. I mean, I always like to do the proper Spanish pronunciations.
I try to, but I always fail. So don't ask me to order food in a restaurant on your behalf. But obviously, Alex Ashmore, fantastic news for you today. Hope you don't mind me sharing, but you are going to be in Madrid for the foreseeable future as well.
Yes. So, so I've come here for my master's, which finishes in July. That's gone by so quickly. And it feels ages ago that I sent that message in the group chat saying I'm moving to Madrid, guys. And then obviously throughout the year, I'd always had the idea of staying in Spain. You know, it's always been, whether I'm going to get a job afterwards. So, yeah, I've been offered a job at the place I'm working at now, which is, very cool to be able to stay in Madrid and to be able to, I guess, live here full time, which I think was the end goal. And I love this country, and it's a pleasure to be here for the foreseeable future. And who knows, I could be here for the rest of my life.
I can also see your dad moving to Spain.
Yeah, to be honest, I think he loves the life out in Spain, and I think he used to go down the south coast a lot when he was younger, back in the 80s and 90s, but hasn't been back there a lot. Talk of the devil, he's just texted me. I think he was staying in the Marbella Old Town over the weekend and loved it, and I think he sort of, he lived in Avila, which is near Madrid, for a year, and I think
the police academy, the National Police Academy.
Yeah, I think it is, isn't it?
Beautiful. It's around the wall.
Yeah, it's a lovely city near Salamanca. If you're ever on the train out to Salamanca, stop off in Avila, and but no, I can definitely see him moving out, and I can also see my mum moving out, to be honest. I think.
Really?
Yeah, she got an Irish passport, and I think who wouldn't like to move out? I'm sure if you offered to Nuke and Lick, Luke and Nick tomorrow, I'm sure if you offered Nick and Luke tomorrow, do you want to move out to Malaga? They'd probably say yes, wouldn't they?
Rip my left off.
Nick wouldn't.
I would, but I'm clearly too important back home to do so. But no, well, like I say, Alex, congratulations, and maybe you'll go full Madrista in August and get the fuck out of Madrid because it's too hot.
Yeah.
go on your holidays. Have the month off.
Hopefully after the Euros, a bit of time off, and I can come down to Malaga for a bit.
Yes, because there are some things in the planning as well. Other things.
Yes.
Talking about something? What are you sniffing?
I know it's a. I don't know if it's just an English thing, but when you
In
are
Holland,
telling a
that means
secret,
that
you
you.
tap your nose.
Oh, okay. In Holland, that means that you want Coke or you just sniffed Coke.
Yeah, no, not in a good old light. That's just
Whenever you're in Holland, please don't touch your nose like that.
no. That is good travel advice for anyone going to to Amsterdam rather soon. Anyway, Malaga stuff. Let's get into some news very, very quickly because we always bring you the news straight from La Rosaleda. An announcement has been made. Obviously, we brought that to you last week about season ticket holders having free entry into the playoff games. Me and you, Alex, were talking about this. It's looking like the first playoff game, if everything still stays the same, will be on the 2nd of June. I think it's looking likely to be. But basically, yeah, if you have a season ticket, but you haven't been to more than 5 games, obviously this is something that's a bit of a bone of contention sometimes. We always say we've sold out the La Rosaleda, but then there's a couple of thousand people that maybe aren't there. So if you've got a season ticket and you haven't been to 5 games, you need to make the club aware that you're not going. So again, I know that some of our listeners are season ticket holders who probably haven't quite made it to 5 games, or maybe have, I'm not too sure. But if you're not going, you need to make the club aware, or if you are going, I think you need to make the club aware as well, because otherwise they will sell your seat to somebody else. So just fair warning.
They should.
Yeah, well, you want to have a big 30,000 bumper crowd out there. I know I'm currently trying to engineer a way to get across for at least one of the playoff games, so I want a ticket, and I'm sure thousands of other people will as well. So just a heads up on that one. There's not really loads of news around this week, but I suppose related to the playoff ticket news is that it's been reported that by David Bicon that potentially there is no first leg playoff game to be played on the 1st. This is due to, I assume, Real Madrid being in the Champions League final, which is being played on the 1st of June. So Primera Federación have just decided to move everything to the right a little bit and go for the 2nd. But what do you think about that from a Malaga perspective, Alex and Luke? Moving your playoff game potentially out of the way just so everyone can watch Real Madrid in the Champions League final.
To be honest, I think it makes sense from a financial point of view solely. Well, initially from a financial point of view, because I would imagine there's a lot of, maybe not a lot, but there's a fair few Malaga fans, in inverted commas, that would maybe choose to go and watch Real Madrid in the Champions League final at a bar rather than go and watch Malaga play against Barcelona B in the playoffs.
Can I tell you my own opinion, which is my opinion about that?
Yeah.
Go for
I
it.
want those people not to attend to La Rosaleda, and I prefer them to go and watch Real Madrid play the Champions League final and Malaga play their playoffs games without them.
I think if you can, though, from a purely financial point of view, if you can organise it so that those people do come, they're paying for a ticket, they're going to give you money. That's better than not giving it.
Alex, you're filling that stadium anyways that day, and the season ticket holders enter for free. So you're talking about 5,000 max. Those tickets will be sold easily.
And this should be a Champions League final that no Malaga fan really wants to watch in theory, because not only does it contain Real Madrid, but it also contains the old enemy, Borussia Dortmund. So,
how times have changed, eh? 11 years on, we're in the 3rd division of Spanish football, and they're in the final of the Champions League against Real Madrid.
You know what I think? I think we have to stop moving matches for the richer to get rich.
It's very true. It's very true, and it has the knock-on effects as well. And there's not too much difference with it being on the.
I'm sorry, Alex, for Real Madrid TV, but you cannot stop. You cannot stop the world because Real Madrid is playing the Champions League final.
The big thing as well from the viewing perspective, I would look on this is if you was to have one playoff final on one, Grupo Uno on Saturday and Grupo Dos on the Sunday, for example, it gives us everybody an even chance to have a watch of both and keep interest out of either. So it's
I have another suggestion. Why aren't they moving the Champions League final?
I don't know why for the Primera playoff picture. I'm not too sure.
You know what I mean? They play that match throughout every season on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. But the final has to be on a Saturday.
It makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, for
it's
them.
at Wembley as well, isn't it?
The richer need to be more rich.
Is it at Wembley?
It's not my decision, it's UEFA's.
No, but you know what I mean. And that's the problem, definitely for Spanish football, like clubs like Madrid, that the richer get rich while the poor stay poor. You don't have that more equal league in Spain than in England. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's going that way as well, Chris. Unfortunately, the power is being monopolized by the few in football.
Yeah, it's still way not as big as in Spain, where you have Real Madrid and Barcelona and maybe Atletico Madrid, and the rest is there just to fill the league up.
Yeah, to make up the numbers.
But if you ask Taylor's, and it would gain him more money by playing 20 times a season, Real Madrid Barcelona, he would do that instead of adding the other 18 clubs in it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, we'll await official confirmation as well. That's just what David Picon is reporting at the moment. So it's one to keep our eyes out for. Just looking ahead to this game against Castilla on Saturday, we've got some few injuries into the squad. Obviously, Musa and Ramon, as we know, they're probably out for the season now, or if they could potentially make a late run for the playoffs, I don't know. Hernandez is out injured. I debate that. I think he is taken, I don't know, early leave. He's on gardening leave or something like that. Potentially just been a complete nomad at the club at the minute, hasn't he? But the one that should be really we talk about is there was a viral infection in the camp this week. There were several key players going down. Kevin, Dioni, Murillo. I say key players. Aviles was also affected. Just for your last game of the season, Chris, it's not ideal timing for a bug to be going around the training ground, is it?
Is that why I feel ill? Is that their fault? Have I been too close to Sergio Pellicer and Lucas Sangali and that lot, and they've given me a bug?
Maybe. Potentially. But it's not ideal prep, but I suppose it's maybe good to get out of the way now for in a game that.
Yeah, I think it's better to have it this week than next week. And Alex, that's why we sent you to the.
We just assume that your height would mean that you are above the lurgy.
You're the youngest, so you have the most.
It makes sense now you say it. Like, if they've got it, and I've been sort of, I can't think where I'd have got it from though, because the only person I've been close to is I haven't been close to any of the players in the last week. But maybe just being in the same room.
It's in the walls. Yeah. So,
shall we now ask about the elephant in the room, Alex?
The elephant in the room.
Did you find a girlfriend while in Madrid?
Not yet. No, I've been, to be honest, super busy with studying and work. So,
but you have a lot of like female school mates, don't you?
I mean, I've got friends from uni, friends from mostly friends from uni. But yeah, my love life is fairly uninteresting at the moment. It's
just let me run through this agenda here. Season ticket holders, injuries, Alex's love life. Finding the ultimate Malaga kit is next.
Is there a boyfriend?
No, there's no boyfriend. No.
Either. Nothing. I hope you had brought a teddy bear from England.
Finding the ultimate Malaga kit has launched this week on our social media.
If you are listening and you say, well, Alex, that sounds like a nice guy. You can send us a message through Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, and then, well, we can send you on a date.
This podcast is getting stranger and stranger by every episode. We're now pimping Alex out to listeners.
Alex, when are you in Malaga?
Say again, sorry.
When are you in Malaga?
Depending on the playoffs and how the results go, potentially for the final.
I'm taking you places.
The Ultimate Malaga kit. Anyway, the Ultimate Malaga kit has been launched on our social medias. You may have noticed this week that we've been putting out several pictures with several beautiful football shirts on top of them there. It's separated into groups and your chance to vote for your favourite. Chris, you are the man behind this search for the Ultimate Malaga kit. How's it going so far? And is there more to come?
I thought we were going to talk about my love life now.
We're married. We don't have love lives.
But there's also places for that, Nick. I will take you there when you come over.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going great, I think. Votes are coming in. But I'm going to be honest, because today's kids, because I post 16 every day, it's already to start go downwards. You know what I mean? I like the 80s, 90s. Well, there's no 80s in it, but we started off with the 90s, very strong and very nice kids, and now it's already getting a bit to the newer ones and less sexy as the 90 kids.
I would absolutely agree with that. And I have just purchased a 1998 Kelmy home shirt to add to the vast collection that we've got.
I'm not impressed, but the day you can have every kid, Nick, but the day you find a 1998 third kid,
yeah, the black and white one,
that's the day you have to call me and let me buy it. You can have every kid from there.
I am looking very hard for that kit, but it is very rare.
Secretly looking all over internet for the past year now, and I see a lot of kids come by, and I never buy any of them. This is the only kid I want.
And to that effect, to show you how rare this is, obviously, friend of the podcast, Juan Heleo, or as Luke referred to, Juan Heleo de Pechimode.
Yeah.
He has every Malaga shirt pretty much going except this one. It is that rare. It is rocking horse shit territory as far as that kit's concerned. And it is stunning. So I can see why.
Your post, Nick, that you put up of all your kits, do you want to know? Do you want to have a live count of views and likes?
Go on. How many are we on now?
We've had 539 likes and 10,800 views.
See, publicity you can't buy.
No, but I found something out about that, because we never had so much likes. Every time you had the new 100, Instagram pushes it again outwards, because from the 70s or 80s, it seems to lose likes. But once you hit it took like a few days or a week or so to get to that like number 500. The last 10 were very difficult, but once you hit the 500, then
back around again.
You go back around again, and then it's crazy.
No, but it's very exciting. Like say, finding the Ultimate Malaga kit. I know I've got my favourite, but we'll see where it ends up. And like say, go into the social media vote.
And that's I'm counting them when all the days are done, and then after June 1st, I'm going to count them because I don't want to know it.
Yeah, we don't know who's winning so far, but yeah, keep your eye out for that one on our social media platforms. So on to previewing the game this weekend. It is a Saturday kickoff, 7:00 Spain, 6:00 UK. I'm sure at other times all around the world as well. Every game in Primera happening at the same time too, so we can have more of a live updates. there's obviously not much to play for. Players confirmed. However, the appetite must really be there to jump up ahead of Ibiza. Mainly, I imagine, just to get on the more favourable side of the playoffs, I would say. But I'll take anything in a minute. But it's no easy feat going to the capital to play Real Madrid Castilla. They are a very good side. They've got several well-recognised names, people who play within the first team from time to time as well. And of course, we've got somebody within our midst that can tell us all about Real Madrid Castilla. So Alex Ashmore, I turn to you. Tell us a bit more about Real Madrid Castilla.
So looking at their recent games, obviously the standings, they are 9th in the table on 51 points. Obviously no chance of qualifying for the playoffs, but 11 points off the playoffs. And they've picked up form of late. They had a struggle to the start of the season. They weren't really on that good of a form, but they've won 4 of their last 5, so picked up a little bit of a run. So they beat Intercity and Granada in their last 2, then drew with Ibiza and beat San Fernando and Alcoyano. I know some of the teams towards the lower half of the division, but still they've got to win. I think from the players that we will recognise, I think there's a few I'll go through. The main ones, obviously, you've got Nico Path, who is, to be honest, one of the players who, towards the beginning of the season, actually wasn't playing much for Castilla because he was in and around the first team. He obviously scored that goal against Napoli in the Champions League. He's played, I think he's made over he's at least 7 appearances for the first team. You've got Theo Zidane, who we all recognise the surname, son of. And he's yet to make his first team debut, but he's been on the bench for some of the Champions League group games this season. And just generally some really good talent in there. I think, some kids that are 19, 20, but have already played over 100 games at this level. One of them, the main ones for me, is Dominican forward Peter Gonzalez, 21-year-old. He's made over 100 appearances for Castilla, and he's 21. So, some experience, but at a very young age. Obviously, Raul is the manager. We all know how good he was as a player. I think for those players to have that knowledge and to be able to receive that coaching from some of the best players to have ever played the game is, priceless, really. So, although this is quite often the thing with B teams and young teams, they don't do as well because they're lacking the experience. There are some top quality players that will no doubt be featuring regularly for the Real Madrid first team in years to come.
Over 100 appearances for Real Madrid B team. Get a life, mate. Honestly, go out and bloody explore the world. Jesus.
I'm not such a big fan of. Obviously, Raul is doing a big thing, but not every good or how do I say it, Galaxian footballer or big star footballer makes a good coach.
I still think, though, even if he's maybe not,
I'm not saying about Raul, but I think it's the less good footballers that make great managers. Name 5 of top footballers that became top managers.
I mean,
Xabi Alonso.
He's not a top manager yet. Pep Guardiola is one.
Yeah.
Johan Cruyff
is 2.
Zinedine Zidane.
Is he a top manager?
Yeah, I don't think Chris is going to class him as a top manager. I get what you're saying. It's hard. And the interesting thing will be after this game is this is rumoured to be Raul's last game in charge of Real Madrid Castilla. I think obviously he was waiting for his opportunity, like what Zidane did, to get a crack at the top job at Real Madrid, but no one's moving Ancelotti out there at the minute. There's massive rumours that when he does go, Xabi Alonso is already lined up. So I think he's going to go try his luck in the Bundesliga, apparently. Obviously,
I also genuinely believe that you cannot go from Real Madrid Castilla to be the head coach of Real Madrid directly.
Zidane did it, and he won 3 champions.
Zidane did it, but I think Zidane's maybe a a unique case more than anything.
And how good is she? Where is she down now?
He's kicking back. He's won everything he needs to win. He's just chilling. He's waiting for his next opportunity, isn't he? But
what I mean, it wasn't a great marriage with Zidane, was it?
No. But it'd be interesting to see what Raul does. Like you say, it's getting to that point now where we're seeing managers of that ilk and of that era start to come through. And I think he would do well to get away from Real Madrid for a bit for his own career's sake, because otherwise, he's not going to get anywhere really with this. And dare I say, if there was a job going at Malaga at the end of the year, who would I rather have, Raul or Pellicer? I'm maybe at this moment in time be leaning more towards Raul, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. But yeah, obviously earlier in the season, Malaga hosted Castilla back in 20th of October, back in 2023, way back when, and it finished 0-0 at La Rosaleda. As far as I can see here, we've only played each other 3 times in the last nearly 20 years. The last previous meeting before this season was in 2007, when we went to the Alfredo Di Stefano. Is that correct? That time, yeah, nailed it, and lost 2-1. So bad omens. And then the time before that, we drew 3-3 at La Rosaleda. So Castilla, apparently a bit of a bogey team for Malaga, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. But
who scored in that 3-3 draw? I'm trying to remember who scored. I'm going to look now for you. I'll tell you, it was, blimey, Bilal Ouasharaf came on for Malaga at the end. That's a surprise. I do not remember him. It doesn't tell me who scored. Nice.
I will tell you who scored. It was a hat-trick from Ballesta for Malaga. 3 goals, 1 scored in the first minute. And then the players who scored for Castilla, this is always the fun bit, 1 Alvaro Negredo, Esteban Granero, and Borja Valero, who obviously all went on to have very successful careers away from Madrid as well. So some fun facts for you there. But obviously...
It was 0-0, wasn't it?
Yes, back in October it was 0-0, so no one scored. Then it was kind of as Malaga dripped into their bad form, going into November and before Christmas, it wasn't going particularly too well, was it? But as you've alluded to before, Alex, obviously Castilla finishing the season strong. They've got 4 wins out of 5, of which the draw was against Ibiza. So finishing on a high. Like I say, looking out for those players that we looked at. Jeremy De Leon was the one I was looking at. He was on the bench against, was it Bayern Munich as well, not too long ago. Obviously, Matt Harrison is a big fan of him. So just to move away from Real Madrid Castilla, talking about our starting 11, obviously we demolished Antequera at the weekend 3-0. A very convincing win for Malaga. Does Sergio Pellicer go with the same team again? Does he need to rest people? Do you think, this is a bit of a dead rubber, so let's reserve people for the first playoff match? Chris, what do you reckon Sergio should do?
I think he should play with his best 11, because you don't want to lose form now. That's one thing. And everybody's saying that Cordoba is going to win next week, this weekend, but I don't see it happening. Or Ibiza, because I think Recreativo Huelva has a lot to play for.
They can't get playoffs though, can they?
No, but you want to end the season well, won't you?
True. Yeah. Well, if you look at Antequera, I guess last week it did kind of feel with Antequera that as soon as the first goal went in, they were kind of not really bothered about the rest of it.
Let's be honest. I mean, how good was Antequera when we played there?
I mean, I can't remember that game actually off the top of my head.
They also bring much on the table.
No, there's different levels between the two, isn't there? And I think from Recreativo Huelva, a proud club who probably feel, especially being in the playoffs for such large parts of the season, will be disappointed with how the campaign's finished and will, look to finish on a strong high. And Ibiza just aren't in any kind of form. If we're in bad form going into playoffs, Ibiza are miles off the pace at the minute, which must be very worrying for them. So, as I mentioned earlier, finishing third gets us that second leg at home in La Rosaleda on the weekend of, I think it was the 8th and 9th. But also, for me, again, Chris, I know your feelings on the B teams, but I think that side of the draw with Celta, Fortuna, and Gymnastic Tarragona as it stands feels a lot easier than this side that's got Ponferradina and Barça Bay. So I would rather us go for it, like you say, and play our strongest 11.
But I think that playoffs, first of all, I don't think and that's my feeling, that we don't have anything to do. We are not ready for playoffs. Far from it. We don't have a team that I say from WoW, which I expect that will win the playoffs. The good thing with that is that it leaves you also that it's a team that can surprise you. But if you want to win the playoffs, you have to beat everyone.
Yeah.
And
I suppose the good thing is it costs 2 legs as well.
Against Cordoba or against Tarragona, because Tarragona also has a tough team.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, we know that from playing them in the Copa del Rey last season. We played Tarragona.
Yeah. So you should be able to defeat both if you want to get promoted.
Touching on your Ibiza comment, Nick, out of their last 15 games, they've only won 3.
Yeah, which is nowhere near form required to be promoted. And like I say, it also says a lot about our form because we failed to catch them so far.
But believe me, they will make it to the final.
I think so.
Got a lot of experience in there, isn't there? But I suppose from a Malaga 11, like say, La Rubia had a fantastic game against Antequera. Really sort of ran the show a little bit to keep his confidence high. Do you carry on playing him? Does he need to be involved in this game and to keep up momentum, Alex?
I think, like Chris said, I think it is all about coming into this game with form, and I think where we have struggled in recent weeks. I think last week's result was very positive to get the 3 goals against Antequera to feel it felt good again around La Rosaleda. I don't know about you, Chris, but it felt like a sort of positive atmosphere coming out of the stadium. And I just think if we can get the players that we know can perform, even if it obviously this sounds weird, but if we put out a strong team and we batter them 6-0, obviously in the grand scheme of things it doesn't mean a lot, but I think it would do a lot for the players' confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one person who it's created a very interesting part of the field for us at the minute, and that's that right back position. Me and Matt were talking about this on the review show earlier in the week, and Carlos Puga at the minute, if Hocking does come back in for this game, Puga would feel very, very hard done by, wouldn't he, Chris? Because he was excellent in the last game, and he was even against San Fernando.
You will get the same thing that happened to Musa.
It doesn't
make sense, does it?
No.
Getting the best player out on a position just because another one has to play, or he believes more in another one, and that's, I don't know. Alex, you have been to the press conference last Sunday. Did I miss anything, or was it?
No, it was obviously. I think Pellicer was very keen to suggest that that win was important because he admitted that the run hadn't been that good in recent months, and how it did, like I said, it brought back that feeling of positivity. And I think when you're going into games like the playoffs, going in on form is arguably the most important thing. It sounds like an obvious thing to say, but even if you've done well throughout the season and you've perhaps maybe been one of the top teams but fallen off, like Ibiza, to then come into a game, I always back the teams that finish 4th or 5th in this case, rather than the team who's been at the top and then maybe just lost out on automatic.
Yeah, it's always worked for Blackpool. Let's put it that way. Not to be too controversial here, but we've also got 2 players who are on 4 yellow cards apiece. That is a one left back, Victor Garcia, and the other one being Einar Galilea. If you're Sergio Pellicer, do you just tell them maybe to leave, a foot in here, there, and somewhere, get suspended for the first playoff game, and then be back for the second playoff game? Or is that too risky?
I think that's too risky because I think the second match, I think from what I have learned in my experience of playoffs, I always find the first match way more important than the second match.
Yeah, definitely. I think maybe you could say that with Einar Galilea, because to be honest, last week I was quite happy with Nelson Monte and Juan Day. I think if Einar Galilea came, I think, to be honest, I think maybe they didn't really have to deal with anything too dangerous or too pressing.
I think Juan Day redeemed himself ever so slightly, but I think if I was given the option between the two, I would probably stick with Einar and Monte rather than Juan Day and Monte. But just playing devil's advocate, just looking about how it could look on the optics of it. You know, if you just leave a foot in here and you have the first leg off and come back for the second leg, I don't know, but just the naughty side of me having a little look on there. So yeah, plenty of opportunity to get legs in here. We'll see what Sergio Pellicer does on Saturday, whether he rests players, whether he goes full strength. We will bring you that news on Saturday. Just before we finish up then, boys, just to tell you, as I mentioned earlier, all the games in Grupo Dos are happening at the same time, 7 p.m. on Saturday night. So just to run you through them, the champions Castellón take on Atlético Sanluqueño. Alcoyano, who we were mentioning before, unfortunately will be dropping out of this level for financial reasons. Sad to see them go. Playing against another team which could be dropping out this level, which is Intercity, who potentially are being replaced by Hercules if they get their takeover the way they want to get done. So potentially this could be a match that doesn't.
How do you say yes to that as a club?
Say again.
How do you say yes to that takeover?
I think from an Intercity perspective, they don't have a choice because they are, if I recall rightly, the only club in Spain which is floated on the stock market. So it is not necessarily more of a takeover by offering; it's more of a hostile takeover potentially.
Yeah. But you know what?
But again, that might be a fixture that, in the grand scheme of things, neither of those teams will be in this league next year potentially. So watch out for that one. Just moving on, Atleti B play Real Murcia. As we mentioned before, Real Creativo Huelva play UD Ibiza. Antequera take on Melilla. Atletico Baleares take on Recreativo Granada in an already relegated tie. Cordoba face Algeciras. Castilla against Malaga, San Fernando against Linares Deportivo. San Fernando still potentially could stay up, couldn't they, Alex, if I remember rightly?
Yes.
And Merida against fellow playoff contenders Ceuta. So plenty of good football to watch. Might make the live stream a bit jazzy as well, bit Jeff Stelling-esque.
I'll try and do my best, Chris. Chris Kamara. I don't know why I was.
We'll go. There's been a sending off. The Alfredo.
I don't know.
Who is it?
I don't know, Jeff.
So that'd be quite good, and maybe we can ask Luke to be Hefe Stelling. Hefe Stelling's got a good ring to it as well. But anything else from you guys? Obviously, this is the penultimate actual season preview. Any plugs you want to make for any other podcast? That seems to be a thing that we're doing at the minute.
No, I mean, I think hopefully we can end the season in a positive way and go into the playoffs with a good bit of rhythm. Vamos, Malaga.
Absolutely. And thank you very much, Chris Marquez.
Have I been on podcast? Do I host another podcast?
Oh, yeah. Well, Chris, have you guys mentioned it in the week? I'm sure.
We did. We mentioned it on the review show.
Where Chris was on the Platini played for Kuwait.
Oh, yeah.
How was that?
About Feyenoord, wasn't it?
Yeah. Did anyone listen to it?
Not yet, but I'm going to.
On my one to do. It's on my list of things to listen to.
I think if you're not a Feyenoord fan and you don't have anything with Feyenoord or Dutch football, everybody will like this episode. And I think it will generate a lot of Feyenoord fans. Because you will find out things and hear stories, and we are talking about players where you think, seriously? Did that player do that? Or I forgot about this player. I don't want to give away too much, but one player that will surprise you is Giovanni van Bronckhorst.
Ooh. Ah, yes, definitely. Well, I've got it to listen to this weekend whilst I am in the garden, so that's the plan. Definitely worth going to listen to. A lot of Platini play for Kuwait episodes too. And is there any mention of Arne Slot as well, just for any Liverpool fans that might be listening that want to know more?
There's a lot of Arne Slot talk, and I think, and that's my opinion, which I can give already, that you English are giving, you don't eat what you don't know.
Is he going to do a good job at Liverpool, do you think?
I think he's going to do more than a good job. I think he's going to make Klopp look like an idiot.
Wow.
Big. The gauntlet has been laid down.
No pressure, Arnie.
He has much more charisma, in my opinion. I think, if I'm honest, that Klopp is a clown.
Ooh.
Boom.
He knows about football, but he doesn't have charisma. What he is a clown. He has humor. That's one thing.
I thought you meant clown is like idiot respect.
No, he's a clown.
Oh, right. I see.
You'll say he has charisma, but that's a clown.
And that's now the Liverpool. That's the sound of the Liverpool listenership just leaving the podcast. Don't say anything about Jurgen Klopp. They've just gone now. But definitely listen to that episode of Platini.
I think that Arne Slot will make Liverpool champion again.
Hopefully, he can slot right in there.
And what a great pun to end the podcast on there. So thank you very much as well, Alex Ashmore, live from Madrid.
Thank you very much. Vamos Malaga. And well, yeah, we're doing a live stream on Saturday.
We are, yes. Let's do it. Bugger it.
You'll see me from the Alfredo Di Stefano.
Exactly. Di Stefano. Not Di Stefano. Thank you everyone for listening at home. Like I say, go and like us, subscribe to us on your podcast providers. It really, really helps us get on there. Ultimate Malaga kit competition, whatever it might be.
We're searching for the best Malaga kit ever.
Exactly. Go and vote now. Otherwise, forever hold your peace. Thank you very much for listening. And once again, you've been listening to the Geary Cast on Sports Direct Radio and as part of the Sports Social Podcast Network. I've been Nick Bell. Gracias. Hasta luego. Vamos, Malaga.